Hello, and welcome to part 2 of the Math 0361 final review. Question 15 wants us to find the area of a rectangle. To find area of a rectangle, all you have to do is multiply. So 28 times 14 is 392. As for units, the units are meters squared. You have to have the squared if you're dealing with area. I guess I wrote that twice. Yep, okay. Question 16 wants us to classify the angle as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. So each part is really a multiple choice question, and we want to figure out which is which. A is straight, because that's self-explanatory. It's a straight line. B, you'll notice it has a sharp corner, so that means it's acute. C is perpendicular, so that means it is a right angle. And D has a wide corner, so that means it's obtuse. "17 wants us to find the area of a circle. And the area for a circle is pi r squared. Well, first of all, I have to find out what r is. R is just d divide 2. So 16 divide 2 is 8. So when I put it into the formula, it becomes pi times 8 squared, which results in 64 pi. And this is the exact answer. The approximate answer is 64 times 3.14. And let's put that in the calculator and see what that is. 3.14 times 64 is 200.96 inches squared, and that is approximate. "18 wants us to solve the inequality. So first we have to subtract 16. So 9y is greater than or equal to minus 46. Then we have to divide by 9. So y is greater than or equal to negative 46 over 9. And if you put that in the calculator, it's about negative 5.1. So first I have to find out where negative 5.1 is, and it's next to negative 5. It's way down here. And notice how the arrow points to the right. So I'm going to draw the arrow going to the right, like so. And because it has an equals, I will close it with a closed circle like I did here. So interval notation is bracket negative 46 over 9, comma, infinity. Question 19 wants us to solve for the ordered pair. If you start where if x equals 2, you just got to replace x with 2. So y would equal to negative 3 times 2 plus 7. So negative 6 plus 7 equals to 1. That's your first answer. Next, they'd like us to replace y with 7. So 7 equals to negative 3x plus 7. If you subtract 7, you get 0 equals negative 3x. And if you divide by negative 3, it doesn't matter because x is still 0. That's your second answer. Alright, part B, same thing. First, x is negative 1, so that becomes 3 times negative 1 minus 5y equals 2. So negative 3 minus 5y is 2. Add 3. So negative 5y is 5. And if you divide by negative 5, that means y is minus 1. That's your first answer. Now we shall replace y with 1. So you get 3x minus 5 times 1 equals 2. 3x minus 5 is 2. You can add 5. So that means 3x equals to 7. And if you divide, you still get a fraction, 7 over 3. Number 20 would like us to find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So, what that means is this. We're going to have to use this equation, the one that goes y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. But before we can do that, we got to find the slope. And the slope goes y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here y2 is negative 3 minus y1, which is 6, so that makes negative 9. x2 is 7 minus x1 is negative 4, so they're really going to add, so that becomes 11. So your slope is negative 9 over 11. Let's put it into our formula. So y minus 6 equals negative 9 over 11 x minus negative 4. Well, two negatives make a positive, and if you distribute, y minus 6 equals to negative 9 over 11x minus 36 over 11. Then I like to add 6, but when I add 6, I'm really going to add 66 over 11, so they have a common denominator. And your answer becomes y equals negative 9 over 11x plus 60 over 11. Part B, we can do the same thing. So if you do the slope, it's going to be negative 1 minus negative 1, which is 0. And then 10 minus 6 is 4, but it doesn't matter because 0 divide anything is still 0. So using the formula, we're going to have y minus negative 1 equals to 0 parentheses x minus 6. Well, two negatives make a positive, so y plus 1. And 0 times anything is just 0. So if you subtract, you get y equals negative 1. Alright, let's find the slope on part C. So the slope would be 9 minus 2, which is 7. I'm sorry, 9 minus 7, which is 2. And then on the bottom, 2 minus 2 is 0. That is undefined, so we can't use the formula anymore. But notice how the x value, too, never changes. So you just have to remember that this will be identified as x equals 2. So 21 would like us to complete the table and graph, and we'll just go down the list. Starting with 0. So that means negative 5 times 0 plus 2, which is 2. Next will be negative 5 times 1 plus 2, which is negative 3. Next is negative 5 times negative 1 plus 2, and 5 plus 2 is 7. And then finally, negative 5 times 2 plus 2, negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. So as of right now, you got 4 good points. The good news about straight lines is you only need 2 points. Doesn't matter which ones you pick. I'll pick the first two. 0, 2 is 2 straight up. Okay, I'll put a big red dot right there. 1, negative 3 is 1 to the right and 3 down. 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on. Once you have your points, draw a straight line. Whoops. going right through them. Alright, so that concludes part 2 of our Math 361 final. Go to our website to tune into part 3. Thank you.